everyone.
Greetings. Hello.
Get yourselves killed.
Hello. Hello there.
Attack commences in 30 seconds.
I will strike our enemies where they do not attack.
Hello.
Hey.
Violence always be the solution? Greetings.
5, 4, 3,
Hello
2,
there.
1. Always attack commencing. Capture objective A.
Onda. See you later. I might need this later.
Info on that yet.
Here I am. Looking for me?
According to plan.
Get
I'm
out.
capturing the objective.
Beacon in place.
The objective is mine.
Thank
Quick,
you.
come on.
Extrañaste?
My ultimate is charged.
Translocating.
Securing objective.
Hello there.
Here I am. I'm securing the objective. Anyone want to join me?
Objective A captured. Escort the payload.
Victoria.
I'm moving the payload. Hello there. The mountains are moving. Greetings. Hello there.
I might need this later. ¿Extrañaste?
Hello.
See you later. Beacon in place.
Greetings.
Looking for me? Much better.
Hello.
Translocating. Ahorita regreso.
Team up for special attack.
¿Qué onda?
I'm escorting the payload. The payload has reached the chip.
My ultimate ability
Later.
is ready. Teleporter online.
Intentemos otra vez. Initiating. Always leave yourself back. Looking for me? Initiating. Beacon in place. ¿Extrañaste?
Payload secured. Move out.
Hey there. manches. Ahorita regreso. Gotcha.
Back in my day, we target down.
It's all up from here.
Thanks.
Be right back.
Form up on the payload. Move it out.
¿Me extrañaste? Miss me?
The payload is approaching its destination.
Been here all along. Mucho mejor.
Barrier active.
Intentemos otra vez. Always leave yourself back in. Gotcha.
Team up for special attack.
In my day, we have this.
Beacon in place. Much better. Miss me? 我洗澡。
Tactical visor activated.
With every death comes honor. With honor, redemption. Keep pushing forward.
Anyone need some healing? Tactical visor activated.
Team up for special attack.
Payload secured. Move out.
Teleporter online.
Play of the game.
Everything can be hacked, and everyone.
But at what cost?
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Round 1. Capture the objective.
Be right back. Been here all along. See you later.
The objective is now.
Beacon in place. ¿Extrañaste? Translocating. Mucho mejor. ¿Qué onda?
You gotta be kidding. They hacked it. Not hacked it, the
Ahorita regreso.
toads in there.
Gotcha. I'm out of here. I might need this later. Here I am. Much better. Beacon in place. Been here all along. See you later. Mucho mejor. Feeling much better. Be right back. I'm out of here.
Where's the teleporter?
Podría haber salido mejor. Ahorita regreso. Here I...
First round loss. Score 0-1.
So many targets, so little time.
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Round 2. Capture the objective.
Let's just get
Beacon in place. ¿Extrañaste?
The objective is now.
We all make mistakes.
Soldier 76, reporting for duty.
Be right back. Miss me? Translocating.
应该不知道生产快这么就要上吧。
that coming.
The enemy teleporter is here.
Always leave yourself a back door. If that happens, located their teleporter. I'm out of here. No manches.
Hey, I found your teleporter. Hey, they have a teleporter. Help me find it.
Play of the game.
Don't worry, boys, we got this. Hey, what's up, guys? This is Leopold Weagle on your Overwatch, back with a new video. Today, we're doing it. The meme lord himself, the guy that people don't want to see, but they secretly do want to see because Hanzo is a lot of fun. We'll be focusing on a few different aspects of his kit today, but a lot of it is going to be hitting his arrows, or tree trunks, as some of you guys like to call them. Now, Hanzo is one of the biggest solo impact heroes in the game, but I do want to put a massive disclaimer out there before I say any more, and that is that do not pick Hanzo if you're not having impact on him. In a lot of the gameplay, I'm actually playing on my ult because I needed to play a lower rank, because at GM I couldn't hang with Hanzo, and I learned the hero a lot. But I also, even on my ult account, knew when to swap off of him, and I didn't just stay on Hanzo. I never have, and you never should. He's not that great on defense for the same reason he's not that great on King of the Hill. And it is possible to run him in these situations, but generally the enemy team are going to have more dive heroes like Genji, Tracer, Winston on attack. So if you're on defense, Hanzo is very rough to run, and for the same reasons on King of the Hill too. When to swap off of Hanzo is just as important as when to stay on him or pick him in the first place, and you have to learn this, because just like Widow, if you stay on Hanzo and don't hit shots, you're going to be throwing the game. So the first thing I want to go into is how to train your aim with Hanzo. Now, I will go into percentages and break all of that down in a little while, but I want to just talk about specifically how to train, because I did a McCree guide the other day, but something people wish I had mentioned was how to actually practice your aim in a practical manner. Now, people do this in different ways. Some people even go to CSGO to practice because it's so good, because you have to be so accurate in order to get kills. Now, of course, Hanzo is a projectile character, so it's a little bit different because you have to compensate for travel time when you're trying to shoot somebody. So CSGO might not be quite as practical, but still it's raw aim, crosshair placement, things like that, fundamentals you will learn on CSGO. But in terms of Overwatch, what a lot of people do to practice with all kinds of different heroes is to go into a private match, put headshot only on, turn the bot shots up to a very difficult mode and make sure it's Anna only. That way she can't kill you, but she's always jumping all over the place and healing herself, and it gives you the opportunity to try and hit more shots on her. This is one very good way to practice Hanzo. The other option is, of course, quick play, but please, for the love of God, don't practice him in competitive, because that is not fair on your teammates. Practicing in private matches all good and that, but obviously the real practice you're going to get is when you play the game. Now, one thing I want to mention straight away is that he has so much damage that don't always think you have to hit money headshots across the map. If you can hit body shots, you're still doing 125 damage, which is only 2 shots you have to hit on most heroes in the game. So don't always be concerned about always hitting headshots, because you're still always doing a big chunk of damage. And always remember as well that he is a pick-off hero, so he's particularly good on attack on Hanamura or any 2CP or hybrid map where you can get kills quickly, because a lot of the time your team are poking at the choke on these maps, and if you can take Hanzo or Widow and get picks, that's a very popular alternative to a team that don't want to move or dive, and that's where he sees a lot of use. Now I want to go into percentages and actually how to hit more shots with Hanzo. So at close range with Hanzo, you don't have to compensate too much for the arrow travel time. Now you do need to remember that you have to drag your arrow all the way back to do maximum damage with all of his utility other than his ultimate. So his scatter and his recon arrow both, if you don't pull them all the way back when you shoot them, they will do less damage, including all 6 of the scatters that come out will do a lot less damage. It's actually less than a third of the damage, so you need to try and pull the bow back all the way. Of course, if someone's got 10 health, then you can try and do a quick little flick, because that will kill them, but then you've got to compensate more because the travel time is actually slower. So what do I mean by percentage shots? Well, at close range, as I say, you don't really have to compensate for too much movement. It's a lot easier to predict someone's movement at close range, and you can pretty much just aim at their head, because it's always going to move really, really fast. Now, when you get to medium range is where percentage shots become very, very interesting, because every time you try to take a shot, you've got to be guessing where the enemy is going to be moving to. Now, I actually mentioned this about Widow in a video the other day. Say someone's on your screen and you want to flick to them with Widow. With no travel time whatsoever, she's a hit scan. When she shoots, it does damage. Well, if someone's on your screen and you flick to them perfectly and shoot, to the best of your knowledge at that time, so an instant reaction, let's say a quarter of a second, you flick and shoot, and you've actually hit the perfect shot. Well, if she in that time happened to move in the other direction, then you would have missed that perfect shot, if that makes sense. So there's always these percentages with every hero in the game, and then multiplied by Hanzo, because his arrow not only dips but moves slower than most projectiles, and even slower than that if you don't have a full charge. So on these medium kinds of shots, every shot that you take just has to be your best percentage opportunity, and I'll break some gameplay down in a second of that. And at long range, honestly, it becomes nearly just pure luck if you're going to hit a headshot. If you're more of the 50-60 meter range, there's just no way you can predict someone's movement and compensate for that travel speed and the dip on a consistent basis. It's simply just not that possible. Now, if I break down some specific gameplay for you guys, maybe I can show what I mean. You'll see on Hanamura that I climb straight up into the window and I scatter arrow the Symmetra. Now, I will go into the mechanics of scatter arrow in a little bit. Right now, we're just going to talk about hitting more shots. I'm at that close range territory, so I just shoot at the floor below and the scatter arrow kills her. It's as simple as that. To be honest, I probably could have fired a normal arrow because she's so close it would have been quite easy to predict. I started taking a lot of heat though, and I dropped down, and I actually come back in just a second, and then I'll show you some of what I mean by percentage shots. The Ryan gets pinned in here and I can't even see him, so I just shoot an arrow and it happens to kill him. Now we're at that sweet spot medium range where I've got to predict for enemy movement. You'll see that the McCree there just moves to the side. I hit what looks like a good scatter arrow, but it's scatter arrow, so it doesn't actually kill him. I then cock my bow, turn to the side, look that he's moving to the left, fire just in front of him and hit him very, very cleanly. Now we're at that close range and you'll see that on the Anna, I barely have to compensate at all for what I'm trying to do to kill her. There's no way the Mercy has her res yet, so I kind of just take my time and hit a couple of cheeky body shots. Again, I don't even need to fully charge my bow at that range because there's not really anything to compensate for because, as I said earlier, I'm firing tree trunks. Now, one thing that's also good to keep in mind is when and when you should not be on the high ground. Scatter arrow is easier to hit when you're slightly higher than the enemy that you're shooting at because you need to bounce it at the right angle in order for it to bounce up and hit people. Now, the mechanics of scatter arrow are very, very dodgy. It can actually one-shot nearly every hero in the game. If you hit every shot, it does something around 500 damage, and if you're nano boosted, it's nearly 800. It's a crazy, crazy strong ability. But there's also a lot of RNG and luck involved. For example, if you shoot it when someone's on an incline, you're not going to hit them. If someone's just above you, you're not going to hit them. And generally, you have to be slightly above them to bounce it up. There is some skill to it, but generally, it's aim at their feet and hope it kills somebody. Sometimes you feel like you've hit the perfect scatter and it won't kill anyone. And sometimes you can just shoot one in a room and it kills everything. It really is a strange ability. And the best ways to hit it are simply the normal techniques for a normal arrow, only aim at their feet and hope it kills everybody. Sometimes you can bounce it off walls and stuff, but he says it's simple geometry, but really it's simply luck again with a percentage shot. You shoot where you think they're going to be at the floor and hope that it bounces and hits them. It's never 100% ability. Now in this next clip I want to talk a little bit more about arrow travel time as well as some decision making. You'll see that at the start I do scatter arrow this Rhine and then I completely juke out his earth shatter. I knew he had it, got out the corner. We cleaned the Rhine up pretty easily here, but in just a second you'll see what I mean about taking your time with certain shots and not others. At this very close range here within the 5 to 10 meter mark, there's barely any time for travel on your arrows, so if someone's weak you don't necessarily have to hold your bow out forever and get a full charge. If they're weak and you're this close, you can almost tap the arrow. I suggest you hold it back for a split second at least to make sure you get enough damage off, but if they're not within the melee damage then you should definitely be just hitting a little flick on them. You'll see that I killed the Anna there fairly simple. She stood still and the travel time there as well is actually very, very fast, and at that distance if she's scoped in like she was, she won't have time to move, so simply shooting at their head is absolutely fine. And rarely with Hanzo do you ever have to actually compensate for the dip of his arrow unless you're like a really long range, and I'll cover that a little bit later. Next what happens is the Genji comes in, and even though I'm at the range where someone will get hit by my arrow, I actually really take my time here, and that's the difference between these kills in this clip. Some of them I've just zipped through, I'm firing arrows, finishing people off, and I kill the Anna, but with the Genji I have to make sure I hit this shot. So I keep my bow out and I make sure he's on my screen before I fire. He's so close that I'm not going to miss as long as I'm on him, and the arrow has no travel time whatsoever to compensate for at this close of a range. Even at medium range, it's very, very rare that you need to compensate much for the dip in his arrow when you've got a full charge. Of course, if you've got a half charge, then yes, you will be needed to aim above their head. Now we're going to take a look at some slightly more long range shots. Now, the Tracer's trying to harass me, and here's me whiffing a few times. This is always going to happen when you play Hanzo. You just have to make sure you're not doing it too much and decide when you really need to swap off. I've been whiffing now for the 5 or 10 seconds that you've been watching this clip, but in a second when it all kind of turns around, and these are the medium shots I'm talking about. So in my mind I know I've got a full arrow there, and once I see the Anna moving in a specific direction, the only thing I can do is just try and compensate for where she's moving. I fire the arrow directly at her, and at that range it's still going to be fairly close because of the travel time. The arrow hits her in the head, and I'm a little bit fortunate, look, that she kind of stopped still. If she hadn't, I may have even missed. As you'll see, I fire it directly at her head. But the Lucio is a different example, and this is where you can really try and judge your percentages in a better way. The Lucio is obviously travelling in the same direction constantly, and as he doesn't juke me out at all, he just wants to go to the point to try and contest it because he's about to win the game, and he just moves in that same direction, and again I managed to judge that at that medium range and just aim in front of his head. Now there's certain heroes that move a lot more than others, of course, and when someone's moving vertically, that's when it's very difficult, especially if it's a Farah or something flying through the sky. Now, I've shot Farahs out of the sky before on Hanzo, but the percentages just become infinitely more difficult because she can move left, right, up, down, depending on speed boost. She can concussion blast, and this is all at the same time as her shooting rockets in your face. So for her, she's a lot more difficult to judge. Now back into the next fight, there's a Tracer at close range. Scatter arrow skill, you'll see, as I mentioned before, you just shoot at their feet and it will melt most squishies in the game. I kill the soldier and then unfortunately I die. Now I want to get right into the nitty gritty stuff, the decisions made in each second, and also the difference between making flick shots and crosshair placement predictions. Now back to that guide I made the other day on aiming, that will teach you fundamentals of crosshair placement. So if you don't know what that is, I suggest you watch it. It's basically being at the right place at the right time to again get the best percentage opportunity. That video may help you guys out quite a lot. Now in this clip there's a soldier up on top, and this is a simple crosshair placement judgment call. You'll see that the guy's moving left and right in a fairly predictable manner. Not 100% chance I'm going to hit him, but he's moving in a way where I can predict it. You'll see that I just keep my crosshair in the right place and I hit him straight in the head. There's no flick there. I tried to flick to it just before the crosshair placement shot, but this is just a simple shot and a fairly easy movement pattern to predict. Now the Ana comes behind me and I hit two, again, simple crosshair placement shots where I don't really have to think about it too much because I know where she's going. The same with the Farah that flies up in the air. I don't have to really flick to her. I kind of just follow up and then shoot on her because she's so close at that sweet spot range I was talking about earlier. The same with the Rhine and this whole clip. All of these clips are simple prediction methods. You'll see the soldier comes in here, and again, I try to keep my crosshair at the right height, and that's what crosshair placement is. It's being at the right place, and then I hit that percentage shot on the second shot on the soldier. No flicks needed. Now in this next clip, I can show you what I mean by a flick shot. Now this is a combination of skill from crosshair placement and using the character more often. You'll see that the enemy team are all balled up, and I'm kind of just looking for a kill, but the Symmetra gets anti-naded, which instantly I think I need to flick to this target and kill it. That's what a flick shot is. You have your crosshair placement where you want it to be, but if they're too far, you basically have to have the right sensitivity and the right DPI in order to have the right skills in your kit to be able to flick to that target. So I'm about the right height, but I see she's anti-naded. I flick to the side and I get that kill on her. You'll see that I drop down and I'm giving the Zarya a front-facing Hanzo, which isn't always the best idea, but I managed to kill her up, and the Rhine comes in and I get some scatter arrow skill once more, aim at the feet, hope it kills them, and then you'll see that I get an in-between kind of a shot here. You'll see the Ana, I know she's behind me trying to shoot me, and I turn around and I kind of crosshair placement and flick to her. You'll see that the crosshair placement's at the right height the whole time, but she's too far away and she's shooting at me and trying to heal her team too, and I have to kind of flick to her. It's not a proper snap, but it's very close to a flick shot. You'll then see we have a little bit of a messy fight. I end up fighting the Roadhog, but I know the soldier's about to get his ultimate, so what I actually do here is I completely change my direction. I know the hook's down, and I look up and I go for, again, a crosshair placement, not a flick shot. The soldier's obviously trying to heal himself, and his health pack is going to move back in a predictable manner, and I hit a full chunk body shot to his chest, and he instantly gets followed up by the Farah. I then turn back around to try and kill the Roadhog. Now what I'll do now is put a few more on-screen examples of flick shotting, and they are the lower percentage of the types of shots you want to hit. Your crosshair placement should always be at head height or in a place so that your arrow will dip and hit people in the head at full charge, of course. And making a flick shot is simply where you have to. You don't want to be flick shotting all the time. That's not reliable. Actually giving yourself, back to the start of the video, the best percentage chance possible for every shot is the best way to hit more shots with Hanzo, and you flick where you absolutely need to. Now long range is an example I haven't shown you guys, and there's a reason for that. Is I've hit long range shots before, but I don't see how they help in a learning context because the percentages are so small. Generally, if you hit a super long range shot, it's two things. One, they're standing still like a Widowmaker. Hanzo can be very good against Widowmaker, which is something people don't realise, because she doesn't move very fast for you to be able to miss her that easily. So at a long range, yeah, he's okay against Widow because he can just peek out and take the shot. But a lot of the time, the percentages are so low, it's luck, and you're not doing it consistently. So don't be that Hanzo that's trying to snipe, because that's actually not where his benefits lie. If you're at a long distance, you're just taking low percentage shots, and you're never going to be able to do it consistently enough to help your team out. Medium range is the best place possible, and a mixture of high and low ground, depending on who you're fighting, is the best thing to do. But high ground miles away from your enemy, or close range on the same level, it's just not a competition. You shouldn't be far away, and you're always better off at being a bit too close than a bit too far, simply because you can hit arrows a lot easier. Now, percentages don't just apply to Hanzo, they apply to just about everyone in the game. So it's a good philosophy to apply to everybody, but Hanzo is the biggest hero in the game for percentages. All of his kit relies on them, even down to his ultimate. Firing a random ultimate is down to percentages. You have to guess that they're in the corridor, where they're going to run, and will it wipe enough people, or should you wait until you have something to combo with? Again, another percentage on that front too. Medium range is fine, but percentages are important. And close range, really, it's almost hit scan. It shoots very fast in the close range. You've only got to compensate slightly for the person you're trying to shoot at. The most important lesson of all those guys is don't pick him if you're not good enough or not having a good game. Swap off of him as soon as possible if you're not getting picked, because you're really just throwing the game, and nobody likes that guy. Even on my old account, I'll make sure I swap off Hanzo once things aren't going well. Let me know if I missed anything in the comments section down below, guys. This was a video a long time coming. I wanted to make sure I had the footage before I made it. Be sure to check out our Twitter and our Twitch and our Discord, where you guys can find the Hanzo main of your dreams. Be sure to drop a like and subscribe if you guys enjoyed, and have a great day as always. Take care and peace, people.
Has that Graviton Surge. Dragon Strike coming in on top of that Graviton Surge, probably in the near future here.
Oh, one fact actually gets up into the upper halls, so...
Very annoying here. Oh boy, that's attack visor from behind. It's going to cause an immediate sound barrier to be used by Meta and Nina. Here's the combo they're looking for. Libero throws it in. That's...
Everything can be hacked.
This is the #1 trusted brand. In the votes for the final 5 guides, Hanzo was a close second to Zenyatta. This is beta footage, so please make sure you have annotations turned on for any future hero changes. Hanzo Shimada is a wandering warrior who travels the world searching for honor and redemption after he was forced to murder his own brother. Apparently killing more people will somehow make up for beating your own brother to death. 2 wrongs don't make a right, but maybe 300 will. Let's get into his abilities and find out what he's all about. Hanzo's weapon is his Storm Bow. Hold to charge, then release to launch arrows further. This has no resource and so does not require reloading, and the arrows will deal between 30 and 125 damage depending on how long the arrow is charged. It takes 1 second to reach max charge, and Hanzo's movement speed is greatly reduced while charging. The travel speed and arc of the arrow is affected by the charge, so more power not only deals more damage, but also travels further. Although the arrows will dip across distance, the damage will remain the same at any range. While charging a shot, it can be cancelled at any time by pressing the right mouse button. Any headshots are double damage. Hanzo's shift ability is Sonic Arrow. Reveal enemies for a short time upon impact. This modifies Hanzo's current arrow with sonar that will reveal any enemies within 10 meters of where the arrow lands for 10 seconds to your entire team. The arrow will still do 30 to 125 damage if shot at an enemy, and if they are not killed, the sonic arrow will follow that enemy for the 10-second duration. Keep in mind that Tracer and Reaper can drop the arrow with Recall and Wraith form. Hanzo's E ability is Scatter Arrow. Splits into multiple ricochet arrows on impact. Once again, this modifies Hanzo's current arrow and will make it deal 0 damage on impact, but it will explode into 6 shards that deal 75 damage each for a total of 450 damage. The shards will bounce 3 times before dissipating, and the angle of the bounce can be judged with simple
Bruh,
geometry.
that was too quick.
The initial arrow will carry forward, so the scatter shard's initial bounce will always be away from the direction it was fired.
That was like
Hanzo's
legit too
passive
quick.
is wall climb. Jump at walls to climb them. Nice and easy. Press and hold the jump key to climb walls. Hanzo's ultimate is Dragon Strike. Launch a deadly dragon spirit that devastates enemies it passes through. This is a slow-traveling zone of death that does 200 damage per second to anyone.
I barely did anything in that match. That's how quick it was.
Traveling in a straight line until it disappears off the map. Okay, that's the abilities. So when should you play Hanzo? He is a sniper hero who excels at picking off low to medium health targets. He has
barely anything. That's how quick the match was. Oh my god.
As long as your team can make up for this and you can land your arrows, he can work on attack or defense. Hanzo is a hard hero to play. Landing those arrows at any distance is difficult, but at long range hitting a headshot on a moving target can seem near impossible. However, after some practice, it is something that is not only possible, but so satisfying you may need to change your pants after and buy the victim breakfast. There is a training grounds mode where you can shoot at bots. Nothing will compare to playing Hanzo against real people if you're trying to improve, but if you want a safe place to get a feel for the flight of the arrows, this is a good start. Make it interesting for yourself and try to consistently nail the sextuple kill. Use Hanzo's wall climb passive to get to good vantage points and prioritize low mobility targets like Bastion, Torbjorn and his turret, Zenyatta, McCree and even Pharah. Pharah is mobile but tends to hover in the air to get her rockets off and can be a nice easy shot for a good Hanzo. Use Sonic Arrow around a main choke, providing you and your team with the enemy movement so that you can all line up your shots as they come round the corner to deal their damage. Or stick the Sonic Arrow into one of your flanks, giving vital information about any assassins like Tracer, Genji or Reaper so your team can prepare for them. If any of those flankers get through, you can try to put an arrow between their eyes if you can react fast enough and they don't dodge the shot. But a scatter arrow at their feet is a much easier shot to hit. Don't aim the scatter arrow directly at an enemy. If you land a direct hit, all the shards will bounce away from them, and unless in an enclosed space, those shards are unlikely to ever hit them again. Instead, aim at the ground just in front of them, so the first bounce of the shards will ricochet up into your target. Remember, this can do up to 450 damage, so it is great against more tanky heroes. Scatter Arrow can also be used to finish off a low health enemy that escapes round a corner. Chase that corner with a scatter arrow to get the last couple of ticks of damage. Hanzo's weakness is his high difficulty and low mobility while drawing his bow. This is a fast-paced game and it can often be difficult to hit moving targets. When Hanzo then has to move that much slower than anyone else, he makes himself an easier target. Watch out for Genji and Tracer. These guys should be able to dodge your attacks and have an easy time taking you down. And be careful when trying to out-snipe a Widowmaker. The more distance there is between you, the more of an advantage she has. Hanzo's ultimate is difficult to land on enemies. The slow travel time and huge audio announcement means people will usually get out of the way before it can hurt them. It does travel through walls, so you can surprise the enemy with some cheeky damage when they cannot react, and it can always be comboed with crowd control ultimates from heroes like Zarya, Reinhardt and Mei. However, it can also be used to zone the enemy, forcing them to move from any advantageous positions they might have. It's also great against static defenders like Bastion and Torbjorn's turret. They will often not be able to move out in time. And that about wraps up Hanzo. Uses range in his high damage arrow to pick up key targets and show enemy positioning Sonic Arrow. Then use Dragon Spirit to clear a path for your team to take control of the objective. Securing the objective. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please click that like button. If you have any questions or disagree with anything, please put it in the comments below. We will be releasing lots more Overwatch guides, gameplay and discussion videos on this channel, so subscribe to get all that future content. Take it easy, and I'll see you soon. This was recorded during the closed beta. Things can change, numbers may be tweaked, and I will add captions to this video if they do. However, I do not expect playstyles to change, but I will come back and redo the guide if required. Genji Shimada was beaten to within an inch of his life by his brother Hanzo when he refused to take part in the family's illegal business. Overwatch took him in, and in order to save his life, transformed his broken body into a machine. This raises two important questions. How much of Genji is left, and how does he take a shower? Let's get into his abilities and find out what he's all about. Genji's weapon, 3 projectiles. This fires off 3 shuriken once a second in a straight line that deal 28 damage each, for a total of 84. There is no damage fall off over any distance, and there is no arc to the projectiles. They will fly straight and true forever. The right-click, throw a fan of 3 projectiles in an arc. This fires a horizontal spread of 3 shuriken at a faster rate of once every 0.75 seconds. These also deal 28 damage each with no fall-off or arc. Any headshot with either firing mode will score double damage. Genji's shift ability is Swift Strike. Rapidly dash forward and inflict damage on enemies. Eliminations reset the cooldown. This has a 15-meter range and will deal 50 damage to any enemy in the dash's path. Any eliminations will reset the cooldown. Genji does not need to get the killing blow with Swift Strike. In fact, Genji doesn't need to get the killing blow at all. Assists reset the cooldown. Genji's E ability is Deflect. Deflect incoming projectiles towards where you are aiming. This lasts 2 seconds and will deflect any projectiles in Genji's field of view. He can still be shot in the back while deflect is up. The deflected projectiles retain their damage properties and will reflect towards the crosshair, so are aimed and can score headshots. Note this only deflects projectiles, any beam weapons are not affected.
And everyone.
Genji's passive is Cyber Agility, climb on walls and double jump. This is very straightforward. Jump, then jump again to double jump, and hold down the jump key to climb walls. Genji's ultimate is Dragon Blade, deadly melee weapon. This lasts 8 seconds, and during the ability, Genji's shuriken are replaced by his Dragon Blade, and his movement speed is slightly increased. The sword does 120 damage per attack, swinging a little under once every second, allowing him to do a maximum of 9 slashes during the ultimate, and the blade cannot score a headshot. Starting Dragon Blade resets the cooldown of Swift Strike, but Deflect is unaffected. Okay, that's the abilities. So when should you play Genji? He is a flanking assassin who excels at harassing the enemy and eliminating backline damage dealers or out-of-position supports like Mercy or Zenyatta. This is great when attacking or defending as long as there is targets to assassinate. Genji is a hard hero to play. The 3-shot burst and travel time of the left click requires you to track and lead the target as the shuriken are thrown out. His survivability is based around his agility and deflect ability, which are damage prevention methods. He has no built-in healing. However, he is a very rewarding hero to play when you get to grips with his
back in the head, Hanzo.
Learning the maps is useful for any hero, but it is essential when playing a flanking hero like Genji. His Swift Strike and Cyber Agility passive open up paths around the map that other heroes cannot use to give you that element of surprise. You'll also want to know where your nearest health pack is at all times. Genji has no way to heal himself, and the health packs will keep you behind enemy lines for longer. Genji does not play for the objective. Use the flanks to bypass the enemy's tanky front line and go straight for those high-value backline damage dealers like Hanzo, Widowmaker and Bastion. Take them out and create space for your team to win the game.
Although you generally want to get in closer, Genji's left click is great at range against static sentries like Bastion or Torbjorn's turret, or maybe a Widowmaker that doesn't move very much.
No rocks, you can't
The
have
higher fire rate makes the right click stronger DPS against groups of enemies or at close range against the larger tank heroes. Genji's Swift Strike is a good gap closer, but it is also his only escape. Only go in among groups of enemies if you know you can grab a kill and get out. Although you don't need to get the killing blow with Swift Strike, if you know it will kill someone, it can be used twice in quick succession to cover a lot of ground. It does 50 damage, so check the health bar above your enemy. Every red blip represents 25 hit points, so if they have 2 or less, your Swift Strike will kill them. Genji's Deflect is one of the most fun abilities in the game, and it is the key to his survivability and will give you 2 seconds of well-needed protection. It is also a great tool for killing Sentry Mode Bastion or reflecting the damage of ultimates from heroes like McCree, Reaper, Soldier 76 and Roadhog right back at them. Using Deflect is mostly a mind game that you will need to get a feel for depending on who you are playing against. All I can tell you is a couple of don'ts. Don't dash through the enemy, then immediately turn and deflect. The player will need time to react to your presence and then take aim. If you want to deflect straight away, at least give them a second to turn and acquire you as a target. And don't stand still trying to get that perfect aim while you are deflecting. Anyone who understands the ability will line up an easy headshot and fire after 2 seconds. Genji is weak against high mobility heroes like Tracer, Lucio and Pharah. While they are not hard counters, they are tough to hit with a shuriken and have an advantage over him. He is very weak against heroes who can bypass his deflect like Zarya, Mei and Winston. All 3 of these guys are close range heroes, so try to keep your distance and use Genji's left click shuriken to deal damage. Genji's ultimate is difficult to use, but devastating when used effectively. It's best used during a fight while the enemy's attention is elsewhere, although they will focus you soon enough. Use Swift Strike to close the distance on a target, then take them out, and then Swift Strike to the next target and repeat. Plan your path through the enemy before you go. Try to take out the enemy Mercy first so she can't res everyone, and use your double jump to make yourself as hard a target as possible. And that about wraps up Genji. Use his cyber agility to traverse the map and assassinate key targets while surviving with Deflect. Then go for those big multi-kills with his Dragon Blade ultimate.
Get hacked.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please click that like button. If you have any questions or
I'm out of here.
Please put it in the comments below. I'm intending to have all 21 release heroes covered before the game is out on May 24th, so subscribe to get all
No, Reinhardt, no.
Take it easy, and I'll see you soon.
No.
Hey, how you doing? How you doing? Good. Wait a second. This was missing.
Much better.
Yeah. Oh, you put this somewhere. Okay, I know that. Yeah,
Why is it lagging? Stop lagging, stop lagging, come on.
Highly intelligent, brimming with energy.
Get hacked.
By 2030, there will be 1 billion more of them. How will we welcome Earth? What will they need most? A place to grow.
Yeah.
By 2030, 3/4 of us will live in cities. Great.
you doing to say hi to your cousin?
What? I was waiting for him to come back in.
How rude.
What?
How rude.
Still walking outside.
You're not talking about.
Knocked over what?
Everything can be had.
Knocked over what?
Attack commences in 30 seconds.
I can't wait to get into the fight.
Attack commence. Capture objective A. Enemy in my sights.
In here, all
Enemy
in.
turret ahead.
I'm out of here.
Enemy turret ahead.
Eso. Be right back.
Get hacked. No, Doomfist. Die.
I might need this later. ¿Extrañaste?
Come on, come on.
Beacon in place.
Where did you go? Oh, how you doing?
I'm out of here. Ahorita regreso. In here, all alone.
Oh no, you're not. Oh boy. No!
No manches.
Enemy turret ahead.
He vuelto. Enemy turret.
That's him taken out.
Suiting up.
Me agarraste en curva.
Check me out. Securing the point.
¿Extrañaste?
Securing the objective.
Objective A captured. Escort
No, no, you don't. Die.
Be right back.
No one can my sight. Enemy turret ahead.
Get out of there.
Much better. Beacon in place.
I foresee great things for you. Let's get started.
Stay dead. Come on, we got push. Make the big push. Let's go.
Meteor strike.
Rising. Watch a cat. Get wrecked. I figured you would get